Aloha, and how's it? Today we're talking all about why all roads lead to LinkedIn in your business and in your career. So, more on that in a moment. So, how was your weekend? Our mango tree, you can kind of see it's pretty much harvested, though we still have a few mangoes here and there still thudding to the ground. My fridge and freezer are filled to the brim with mangoes. If you are here, I would invite you over. Please help me eat these mangoes. So, I have mango acai bowls for lunch, mangoes for dessert, mangoes for snack time. Lots and lots of mangoes. Plus, my surfboard is now repaired. So, for those of you who have been following my surf saga, it got damaged paddling out to a new spot. So, it is now fixed. So, I am ready when we get a few waves over the next week or so, hopefully, on the North Shore. Cross the fingers, 2 to 3 foot would be fantastic. So, we will see. And if you haven't checked out my podcast, the Mango Effect podcast, you'll get to hear me on an episode this week that goes into how to create your ideal workspace. So you'll get kind of a behind the scenes peek at my office setup. You'll also get to hear about all of my different workspaces over the years. I'll tease it that for a little while there, I actually had an office in the bathroom. So listen to the episode if you want to hear all my funny stories about office spaces and then 10 tips to create your own ideal workspace, whether you are working remotely in a home office or whether you are in an office setting and you just want to make it better. And there are another 25 episodes up there for you to listen to if you want to hear about all things lifestyle design, entrepreneurship, lifestyle experiments, living in Hawaii, setting goals, becoming your own boss, and more. Lots of fun stuff up there for you. Now it is time for Mondays with Mindi. It's a weekly show on Monday afternoons if you're based in the US, where I talk about all things LinkedIn pipeline, promo, and profiles, what I like to call the 3 Ps of LinkedIn. So do you have questions about LinkedIn that you want me to answer? Be sure to like this post, whether you're watching live or from the replay, to give it some social love. Leave your questions below, and I will answer them either after the show or on a future episode of Mondays with Mindi. Typically, when I finish these, I go through the comments and answer all the questions. I like to do it afterwards. It just makes it a little easier for me to provide thoughtful responses. So do leave your comments. I love them. So let's get to today's topic. What is this all about when you say all roads lead to LinkedIn? So last week we talked about how to grow our network with the right people. If you haven't caught that episode yet, go back and listen to it, especially if you are in a network growth phase on LinkedIn. There's a lot of juicy tips. And I also share like 3 examples of connection invitations that work like gangbusters right now on LinkedIn. So go check it out if you're curious. That leads us to today's topic, where we go into the importance of LinkedIn for your business, for your organization, or for your personal brand. So when it comes to LinkedIn, a number of business leaders, corporate professionals, and experts interested in strengthening their brand, whom I talk to, are confused. They're like a little bit confused with where to invest their time and resources because we're often told that we need to be everywhere and just cross post to LinkedIn through an automation tool or just hire a VA to do your social media for you. The problem is trying to be on just one platform effectively can be really tricky. Many of you have probably experienced this. There's so much social media overwhelm. We're trying to post everywhere. How do we repurpose this content to LinkedIn? Or how do I post this to Instagram? Like there's so much confusion and havoc around being everywhere all the time. So learning how algorithms work, figuring out if you need to have paid ads, trying to build an audience, trying to grow your email list, knowing what sparks engagement, the language to use, the hashtags that work. It's so different on every platform. So how do you choose which one platform you need to do well? That is the question that we are here to answer today. So where does your target audience mingle online? Like where do they gather while also being in the mindset to do business? Think about that for a moment. Where do they get together? And they're also in their business mindset or their professional mindset. They're here to talk about work. We go to Instagram and TikTok to be entertained or inspired. We go to Facebook to keep up with our friends, our family, our favorite groups. We go to YouTube when we have a question. None of these places is primarily geared towards business. So B2C audiences, so business to consumer audiences, are very different and have more platforms to choose from But if you're in the B2B space, so business to business space, you've got one, and it's called LinkedIn. A lot of people have tried to take over LinkedIn. There have been a lot of replacements, but none of them have stuck. So love it or hate it, not sure what you think about it. If you're avoiding LinkedIn because you're unsure, you're overwhelmed, or you've tried it before and it didn't work like you hoped, you are not alone. But what you need to realize is it's a skill that you can learn. And it's not as complicated as other channels. I will just tell you that LinkedIn is very simple when you understand the basics. So LinkedIn can take your business from just doing okay to a sales pipeline that is bursting with people who want what you have to sell and actually like you as a person. Go figure. And you don't have to like dance to the music to get their attention. So for example, I'll give you an example, a real life example. A marketing agency consultant came with the problem of having an awesome service where he was just really good at helping his clients kind of figure out their intellectual property and easily productize just about any service they were offering. So it's like he could take their ideas and say, oh, this is exactly what you need to sell. Here's what you should charge. The problem, nobody knew him on LinkedIn. He had a really boring LinkedIn profile. Like you went to his profile, and if you actually met him on a Zoom call, it was like two different people. And he was not convinced that LinkedIn would actually work for him because he heard it was really spammy. There were a lot of other people in the space. How would he stand out? So he had all of these objections to LinkedIn. So what we did was we dialed in his target audience. We discovered that they were actually very active on LinkedIn. So we fixed up his profile. We did a test of sending out some tailored LinkedIn messages just to see if his audience wanted to chat. And it was like an explosion, like boom, his message immediately resonated, and he had more discovery calls with perfect prospects than he could handle in a month. We about killed him with more than 30 calls in less than 30 days. He's like, okay, Mindi, you got to slow it down. I'm going to die here. I love LinkedIn, but I can't have that many calls. So 3 years later, he still doesn't need to go outside LinkedIn to fill his sales pipeline with referrals, plenty of referrals from all the business that he generated on LinkedIn, and then keeping his LinkedIn pipeline going. He had as many prospects as he could handle with no end in sight to the prospect pool. So what really happened here? First of all, the belief. He believed that LinkedIn might be a good place for him. So he said, okay, I'm going to just go with this belief. Then he tested. So he's like, okay, let's run a test and see if it actually works. And then he got the results, and the results spoke for themselves. They were irrefutable. It's like, okay, this works. Why am I not doing this? It doesn't require me to spend bazillions of hours creating fluffy content and posting to all these different social channels. All I need to do is LinkedIn. So that is really what the key is. And we're going to go a little deeper into this today. So aloha, for those who don't know me, my name is Mindi Rosser. I'm the founder of Mindi Rosser Marketing, and I have a group program called the LinkedIn Accelerator for those who want to go from 0 to 60 on LinkedIn with their profile and their network. If you're catching this live or within a few days of airing, we just finished up cohort 5 of the LinkedIn Accelerator program. We spent an amazing 5 days together working on our LinkedIn profiles, growing our networks, and touching on all the things we need to grow our businesses and land our dream jobs using LinkedIn. So I help professionals who feel they are the best kept secret in their industry to become the go-to visible expert in their niche so they can get that next opportunity, grow their business, and scale their impact on LinkedIn. And in this live, we are going to talk about why not prioritizing LinkedIn as your home base for your brand, your organization, or your business is causing you to miss out on new opportunities, and how you can feel really confident growing your connections to accelerate your business, kickstart the right relationships, and generate more leads. So are you ready? Let's do this. Go ahead and like this post, whether you are live or watching from the replay, to give it some social love. So subject matter experts and specialists in their field, a lot of times they believe that to build their personal brand, they have to figure out their personal brand before taking any action online. So they will spend months working on their messaging, they're working on their brand colors, they're working on their website layout. But how many people do you know who say they're going to launch, they're going to write that book, they're going to start that business, they're going to focus on that side hustle, they're going to get some clients as soon as they have a website or a podcast or a YouTube channel? Like, they have to create their weekly content before they can actually start growing their business. The thing is, there's one overlooked place that is absolutely free for you to start building your personal brand, growing your business, taking your organization to the next level, getting your employees excited about what you're doing. And it walks you step by step through all of the nitty-gritty details that should be included in your personal brand. It's called LinkedIn. Yes, LinkedIn. So that channel that is staring you right in the face, it's not very exciting for many people. For some of us, it is. That would be me. But for many people, they're like, LinkedIn is kind of like, isn't that old school? Isn't that where we just like have corporates getting together? Or if I'm looking for a new job, like, nobody's talking about that in my space. So, that's the one that you don't log into unless you're looking for a job. Yeah, that one. And if you mention LinkedIn to many people, they will totally discount it as one of the many channels they'll get to in their social media strategy after they dial in their website or figure out their TikTok strategy or, get going on Instagram or doing their Facebook ads. At this point, I just want to shout from the rooftops, like, you don't need a website. You just need a LinkedIn profile. So I have worked personally with dozens of clients and students who didn't have a website or an online portfolio, but they did not let that stop them from starting their business, from landing their next opportunity, or getting their dream job. What they did was they had a shift in belief. They're like, you know what? I've heard stories that LinkedIn can be good for me. Mindi, you've told me, you've shown me some good number of case studies. I've seen a lot of before and afters. So how do I make this LinkedIn thing work for me? When you know how to work your LinkedIn profile, your personal brand can start on LinkedIn. You can grow your business on LinkedIn. You can actually get results on your LinkedIn page from your organization. Pages are not dead, contrary to popular belief. And for many of us, that's really the only channel that we need. We don't actually have to be on all of the channels, doing all of the things, keeping up with all of the trends. And if you're on the corporate end of things and you're coming to this live stream and you're like, well, what about, I need to have this multi-channel social media marketing strategy for my organization. I'm going to share with you a little secret. First of all, Twitter is dead, so don't waste your time there. Instagram is for B2C brands. TikTok is a waste of time unless your demographic is Gen Z. And Facebook, or should we call it Meta? I'm not quite sure. It's kind of a mess right now. So if you are in the B2B space, your home base should be LinkedIn. Maybe you want to cross post to other channels. That's up to you. But LinkedIn's staying power is second to none in the social media arena. And there's a 95% chance that your buyers are reachable on LinkedIn if you know a few simple tricks to optimize your page and activate your employees. That is really the secret to LinkedIn for organizations. So what if instead of looking at LinkedIn as one of the socials, you decided to value your LinkedIn profile and your LinkedIn page as the home base for your brand? If you're a subject matter expert, consultant, business owner, LinkedIn has all of the sections you need to build out your brand and get very clear on your experience, on your story, showcasing your portfolio of work, linking people elsewhere, sharing content that engages, attracting the right people when they are in the mindset to do business. And that is so important to realize. When people come to LinkedIn, they are in that headspace where this is business. This is professional. This is not where I'm entertained. I'm not trying to just kick back and relax. I want to learn. I want insights. I want juicy content. I want valuable content that's going to help me grow professionally. So it is often totally counterintuitive to what we think. We like to make things a lot more complicated. And we think that, well, maybe I'll just get my website designed, or I'll get a personal branding consultant, or I'll figure out that Instagram thing. I've heard a lot of good stuff about that channel. We think those are all the answers. And we're really dancing around LinkedIn like, it's not that exciting. So we think we also must be doing TikTok like all our other business besties who are raving about how many leads they are getting from posting fluffy content 4 times per day. Okay. I hear it. I hear the stories. I'm like, really? Okay. Show me the money, honey. Or what about Instagram Reels with trending audio? I literally today, just before doing this, I literally just watched a 6-minute tutorial on how to do a transition reel clapping to the beat with like a Mariah Carey song. Heck no. Like, unfortunately, I can't get those 6 minutes back, but Instagram is not where my people are. So I'm not saying those things are meaningless. If that's where your audience is, okay, go there. But you're probably not watching this live stream unless you believe that LinkedIn is probably something that is a missing piece to your strategy. So you can make a ton of progress with your business, your brands, your presence online if you get laser focused on LinkedIn first before worrying about those other channels. If you've been looking for a way to simplify your efforts and you want to maximize your return on investment, let's talk about why your LinkedIn presence can really kickstart your personal brand and your LinkedIn page. So you don't have to wait. You can actually start right now. And if you decide not to prioritize your LinkedIn profile, guess what? You're probably going to waste weeks or months or years trying to get it right when a messy first draft using the LinkedIn profile structure can actually save you all that time, and it will ensure that you can actually be found online. So go ahead, waste time on a pretty brand. Watch how the people starting out at the same time as you skyrocket ahead with their business. And how the heck are they doing it? They don't even have brand colors, Mindy. Well, I'll tell you a secret. They know the power of their LinkedIn profile and they're getting results. They don't need anything else right now. And if you're a credible B2B organization, and maybe you have, I've heard this, you're listening to a new hire on the social media team, attempting to make the case to allocate a good percentage of your marketing budget for TikTok or Instagram. If that's what you're hearing, I think twice. A number of organizations I've worked with have found that those ad dollars and those marketing dollars are better spent on developing an organic LinkedIn page strategy, training employees how to actually use LinkedIn, and maybe a small portion of spend towards LinkedIn ads to reach their busy target audience. But do what you want. If you would rather test all the other channels, that's your choice. Just be aware that LinkedIn has been and still is the best B2B game in town. All right, so let's talk about maximizing your ROI on LinkedIn. When you choose to go all in on LinkedIn, that is when the magic happens. When you're just kind of dancing around it, thinking about it, maybe I'll look at my profile. You're not going to get results. So it's not about spending hours a day trying to scrounge up LinkedIn posts to comment on. Rather, it's about providing value and showing up consistently over weeks and months. So using LinkedIn for your business means that you are here with a very clear objective in mind. So think about it like this. It's exactly how we go about building a business or growing our business if we already have one. We create offers and services, we build a clientele or customer base, and we over deliver on expectations. And then we just do this over and over again until we get a process that works with the margins that we love. So everything you do on LinkedIn should lead you closer to doing more good business with more good people. It's not spamming. It's not about clever automation. It is about using a proven system and processes that actually work on LinkedIn right now. So now I want to go back to that story I told earlier. What I didn't tell you about that consultant, who grew his business and was having 30 plus calls in a month, he spent an average of less than 3 hours per week on LinkedIn. Like less than that, for sure less than that. And why? Because we nailed his processes and systems. So now how do you figure out if LinkedIn is a platform for you? Okay, if you're not already convinced, I want to share with you 3 questions that can help you determine if LinkedIn is the right fit for going all in with your organization's LinkedIn strategy or growing your business or side hustle and building your personal brand. So first of all, first question to ask yourself, who is your target audience? As I mentioned before, if they are professionals, if they are leaders, if they're CEOs, executives, LinkedIn is most likely the one channel where they actually have a profile, are somewhat active, and can be reached. So trying to target a CEO on Facebook with an ad, good luck. Maybe you'll get through to them, but they're probably not in the right headspace when you do. So reaching out to that same CEO with a personalized LinkedIn email and a great connection invitation, your chances of getting through are much higher, even if they do have an executive assistant checking their LinkedIn messages for them. And that's the thing. They actually do have a gatekeeper paying attention on LinkedIn. But do you think they let their VA into their personal account, Facebook account? Probably not. That's a rhetorical question for those of you. But LinkedIn matters. Business leaders these days, they all have a LinkedIn profile. They all are somewhat active. There might be some that are a little less active than others, depending on their industry, but they are there. They are technically there and they are reachable. and you are not going to get that on other channels. So just keep that in mind when it comes to targeting and identifying your audience. Number 2, how relationship based is your sales process? So we have all heard about the know, like, and trust factor and getting people to purchase what we're offering. They have to know us, they have to like us, they have to trust us. Okay, very basic. The thing is, how much of you, like you as a human, will the person need to make a decision on whether or not to buy from you? For example, if I'm selling a pair of shoes, you probably don't need me to say, look at me, I'm wearing these shoes, I'm going to personally sell you these pairs of shoes. No, you're probably going to look at the shoes, you're going to like the shoes, you're going to buy the shoes. Fantastic. You don't really need a human in there to help you make that decision. Now, if you are going to invest in a very complex piece of software for your organization and you have about 250 people on your team that are going to need to access that piece of, SaaS software, whatever it is, you are probably going to do a lot of thought. You're going to talk to a number of people. You're going to make sure that this is a really good investment for your company. Also, if you tend to push people towards a free discovery call or default to like, let's hop on for a quick chat to sell your services or to get to know people to sell your services, LinkedIn is a great fit because when you have genuine conversations in your LinkedIn direct messages, your LinkedIn messages, calendar links are quite often exchanged. It's pretty typical for people to say, hey, you look cool. You look interesting. I wonder if we could do business together in some way. Here's my calendar link. If you are accustomed to pushing people towards a landing page or a video to learn more about you, and you have something that's like a little bit of a lower price product, like something they could just buy. If they saw, a great ad and they're like, oh yeah, I need that. I'm just going to go purchase that product or that lower priced product. They can easily purchase without thinking twice. You're not really that much involved in the process and in the exchange. So LinkedIn might not be the best fit for these types of customers. So you want to think about your own sales process. Most of the people that I work with, entrepreneurs, business owners, subject matter experts, they likely have a premium offering or an upsell where they have like high ticket clients and they want to work with you directly. They want to have a relationship with you, or maybe you are trying to build collaborations and affiliate partnerships. LinkedIn is really where you want to kickstart the conversation and find these people. These clients are the types of people you'd want to reach out to directly on LinkedIn. So if you're a salesperson trying to get through to decision makers, you probably already are using LinkedIn, but I've come across very few salespeople who do this well. A lot of them are struggling with knowing what to say. They don't want to come across as spammy, but they've got to hit their numbers. So it's a really tricky balance, and it's tough when you have any type of sales related word in your title. If you have business development or sales SDR, if you have any of that in your title, you've got to be very clever and you've got to show the human side of you. Like, how are you helping people with making a good decision and purchasing your product? So think about your sales process. How you sell. How much of you is actually a part of that sale? How much of you does someone need to see and get to know before they feel comfortable purchasing from you? That is what really matters. And the more valuable LinkedIn is going to be for you is if you are a part of that sales process, if you are intricately woven into that process, you work with high ticket clients, you really want people to value you for your expertise, your organization is top of mind, your team needs to be out there representing and have great profiles so people trust them and have those conversations. LinkedIn is going to be the spot for you. So just keep that in mind. There are so many nuances and people are like, how heavy should I go on LinkedIn? If you're a part of the sales process in any way, shape, or form, and you are having calls with people or your team is having calls with people, you need to be on LinkedIn and have a really good presence and a good profile. All right, so let's move into the third question. Are you ready to invest in LinkedIn? And when I say invest, I don't just mean money. I don't mean throwing ads money at LinkedIn. I'm not trying to sell you on any of my services here either. This is a question that you need to answer for yourself, because getting into LinkedIn with one foot in and one foot out is going to get you nowhere. Like if you're like, I'm going to kind of try it and see how it goes, but you're not really understanding what you need to know to build a solid pipeline on LinkedIn, to build a solid profile so people that are looking to hire you can find you. You're half in, you're half out. You're not going to get the results. So you need to decide if it's the right channel for you, and then realize it's going to take a little bit of education, some time to learn the ropes, some processes to set up, some resources. Maybe you need a VA to help you manage some of the moving parts. So I tend to recommend, if you're considering LinkedIn, you're like, Mindy, I want to test it. but I'm not sure if it's going to work for me. I tend to recommend to my students and my clients that they do a very simple 90-day experiment where they go all in on LinkedIn. So it's a short period of time before they make a longer term decision. The thing is, once you get it all set up and going, it usually only takes a few weeks, honestly, to set all of this up. I think a lot of consultants make it a lot more complicated, but it's not that complicated. You can make an educated decision on how much or how little to invest in LinkedIn moving forward. So I recommend doing a 90-day test and going all in. You're going all in for 90 days. You're going to see what results you get. Then you're going to make a very smart decision whether LinkedIn is the place for you or whether you are doing better on other channels. So the worst case, you decide LinkedIn is not for you. Okay? That's not a bad thing. Then you've spent 90 days getting your LinkedIn profile looking amazing, which is great because people are still going to search for you. All roads lead to LinkedIn. They're still going to look you up. They're still going to come across your profile. And you probably created some content that you can use other places. And you've learned exactly how to do cold outreach in a way that doesn't feel spammy, which you can apply to other channels as well. You can apply that to your email marketing. You can apply that concept to so many other things. So the best case is you figure out that a LinkedIn system actually does lead to business revenue for you. It's a social channel that you can point to next year and say, you know what? My LinkedIn opportunities made me X dollars for Y investment last year. Good return? Yes. So commit. That's my word of advice. If you are on the fence about LinkedIn, you need to commit to an experiment. 30, 60, 90 days, ideally 90 days. And you're going all in, you're learning, you're updating your profile, you're learning how to do outreach, and then you make a good decision. So in conclusion, how are you feeling about maximizing your LinkedIn ROI right now? Basically, it comes down to knowing your target audience, understanding how relationship-based your sales process is. If relationships are involved, business connections, who you know is involved in that process, LinkedIn's a good place. And then your number 3 is you're going to run that 90-day experiment. All right. So it's not that hard when you go back to the basics of good networking, strategic content, and building better business relationships. And if you're still experimenting with, how to approach your LinkedIn presence, that's okay. Be patient with yourself. You will learn. If you want some tips and tricks, you can dive deep. You can probably figure out your entire LinkedIn strategy just from looking at some of my past live streams. So feel free, go for it. You will learn a lot. So post a question below or shoot me a direct message if you'd like to discuss this in more depth, or if you want me to point you in the right direction. Like, Mindy, I'm trying to learn X about LinkedIn. Can you help me? Can you point me towards someone who can help? I'm happy. I'm connected to a lot of people in the space too. So if I'm not a good fit, there's probably somebody that I know who is a good fit and can share some thoughts and ideas. I just want to be a resource for you. And I'm a big advocate of using LinkedIn, and I've seen it work for so many people. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. All right. So if you are looking for that extra edge to get started on the right path with your LinkedIn profile, because that's where all of this begins, check out my free three-part LinkedIn training. It's like a profile guide plus a mini training. So 3 short videos that will actually help you dial in the most important sections of your profile so you can start building a solid LinkedIn presence. All right. So I will see you next week on Mondays with Mindy. Feel free to leave any questions or comments below. And of course, my inbox is open if you want to message me directly. I will see you then. Have a beautiful rest of your week.